Good morning, Unity on the Avenue. It is my pleasure to introduce Gail Hamilton. She will be playing piano and auto harp this morning. I am Donalyn Watley, and the first song we would like to sing is Weave, and it is coming, all of the music we'll be singing this morning is from the hymnal of Wings of Song, which is a unity hymnal. And our first selection is Weave. Go ahead, yeah. Weave, weave, weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave, weave, weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are many textures, we are many colors, each one different from the other, but we are entwined with one another in one great tapestry. Weave, weave, weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave, weave, weave us together, weave us together in love. We are different instruments playing our own melodies, each one tuning to a different key, but we are all playing in harmony in one great symphony. Weave, weave, weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave, weave, weave us together, weave us together, together in love. A moment ago still we did not know our unity, only diversity. Now the Christ in me greets a Christ in thee in one great family. Weave, weave, weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave, weave, weave us together, weave us together, together in love. All right, so our next selection will be from the Wings of Song prayer book, hymnal book, is I Am Free and I Am Unlimited. I am free, I am limited, there are no chains that bind me. I am free, I'm unlimited right now, right now. I am free, I am limited, there are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am limited right now, right now. I am free, I'm unlimited, there are no chains that bind me. I am free, I'm I am free, unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I'm unlimited right now, right now. I am free, I'm unlimited. There are no chains to bind me. I am free, I'm unlimited right now, right now. I am free, I'm unlimited. There are no chains to bind me. I am free, I'm unlimited right now, right now.
Awesome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
So, if you've been in Unity, I don't know, 15, 20 years, you know that song. And you knew the one before it, and guess what? You're going to know the ones afterwards, too. So, it's a Unity Day for Happy St. Patrick's Day. So, I see some of us are wearing some green, and we know that whatever color you're wearing, it's the right color for you today. So happy St. Patrick's Day. So we want you to know that everyone is welcome. We also want you to know that if you have a few extra moments on your way to lunch, you might peek into what used to be the old office. It's in the process, it's not finished, but it's in the process of becoming the nursery, little kids Sunday school, for those who show up. And we really want to thank Scott a whole bunch, Mark a whole bunch, and Derek a whole bunch for their industrious painting. Woo! And let's all join in our statement of faith. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God the good, omnipotent.
In the midst of his children, the Lord said he would be. Doesn't take very many, it can be just 2 or 3. And I feel the same sweet spirit that I felt of times before. Surely I can say I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel his mighty power and his grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
So I have a blessing for our soul friends, and it is from the book of Celtic Wisdom. So I just invite you to relax in your chair and take in a few deep breaths. We breathe with spirit. We find the place in our heart where we just feel the presence, the love, and our community. May you be blessed with good friends. May you learn to be a good friend to yourself. May you be able to journey to that place in your soul where there is great love, warmth, feeling, and forgiveness. May this change you. May it transfigure that which is negative, distant, or cold in you. May you be brought into the real passion, kinship, and affinity of belonging. May you treasure your friends. May you be good to them, and may you be there for them. May they bring you all the blessings, challenges, truth, and light that you need for your journey. May you never be isolated. May you always be in the gentle nest of belonging with your Anam Cara. And so it is. Amen.
Next, we'll be singing I Love Myself. Go ahead. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fear, your rage and tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth, the only love can bring, I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am.
Okay, now we're going to get up and go. Again, awesome, ladies. It's been a while since I've heard those songs, so it was great to hear them. I don't know how they hit you, but I want to tell you the first time I heard this last one, I had a very wet face. Let's just say it that way, because it's not one of the messages that we tend to get from the world a lot, that we can love ourselves exactly as we are, which doesn't mean we can't do better the next time, but it means we love each other the way that we are, and the way that, here's the pesky part, the way that they are. So, if you were here last week, we started a little Lenten series called Walking with Jesus to Transformation, Enlightenment, Second-Tier Consciousness, being able to pick whatever kind of concept works for you for what happens when we know we're on the path, when you know that what's happening in your life and what's happening in others' life is absolutely what it needs to be for you to grow, to learn the lessons that your soul chose as you came into this particular lifetime, as unusual as that seems sometimes. So, a little reminder, it was at about the age of 30 that Jesus started to follow John the Baptist. a desert prophet, and he was baptized by John in the Jordan River. And when Jesus emerged from the water, he had an experience that many people call enlightenment. Now, other great teachers throughout history, whether we're talking about the Buddha or Lao Tzu, have woken up to reality in the same way, not necessarily by being baptized in the Jordan River, but by having this moment of, oh, I got it. Now, a moment of, oh, I got it, while it changes your life forever, doesn't help you be any better in the next 15 minutes. So that's part of the confusing part for a lot of people. When I was a young Southern Baptist, I had an altar call at least 3 times that I remember. I was baptized 3 times, and yet it always felt like there was something that didn't quite stick because I thought I was supposed to be different than I was. So when Jesus came out of the water with that enlightenment, he went into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, and I know you good Unity students know that 40 just means as long as it takes. Could be a year and a half, could be 15 minutes. How long does it take you to internalize a change and to listen, and here's the pesky part, to the call that you get? So when Jesus came out of the wilderness, he came out after John was put in prison, and he came out after John was beheaded. And he came out to a call that he knew in that moment would cause him physical danger and distress. And yet he answered the call. So what came to my mind this week as I was preparing to move forward with this was that sometimes people get strange calls that endanger them. What if you were called to be Sam Bankman-Fried? What if you were called to go to jail? What if you were called to create something with cryptocurrency, which I barely understand, and do something dishonest? We don't think of being dishonest as a call. But why would someone start out to do something like that? Looking at it from the other way around, can you imagine the call that John Lewis and Martin Luther King Jr. had? Starting with things like walking across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, where you knew you were going to be beaten. You knew that not lovely, friendly dogs, but vicious dogs would be set on you, where you would end up in prison. How do you answer those kind of calls? How do you answer a call that when you answer it, you know it's going to change your life forever, and perhaps in ways that you don't even like? So Jesus taught using parables. And the interesting thing is that Jesus taught first always in synagogues. Isn't it fascinating that what became the Christian religion was really the message that Jesus taught to the Jews? So Jesus taught in parables. And another one of the interesting things to me is a parable is a story, and a parable is open to different interpretations. And the other thing that came to me this week were Zen koans. You guys know what a Zen koan is? Pardon? A paradox. Well, it's giving you paradoxical information. The most famous one is What's the sound of one hand clapping? Now, what does that mean? Go ahead and pick one. Anybody's allowed to talk. Pretty much. Is what you're saying worth saying? Is it worth listening to? And it's fascinating to me that people who would not probably walk into any church, let alone a unity church, because they never heard of a unity church, but wouldn't walk into a church because of the parables that Jesus taught, but they're perfectly happy determining the koans that the Buddhists taught. Another one, how can we escape the cold and heat? Is there such a place that doesn't have cold or heat? No. And yet, so you can't escape it. But why would a teacher want you to think about that? If you were trying to escape cold and heat, this is just Doris making it up. I don't have an answer here. It could be that both cold and heat are part of life, and we can't escape life. So it interests me that when Jesus started to teach, first he went back to his own synagogue. And when you go back to your own hometown to teach, can you imagine the surprise on my high school classmates' face when I went back to a class reunion with the title Rev in front of my name? That was not the person my high school classmates knew. And Jesus had the same experience. His brothers and sisters were in there, plus the people he grew up with. Mark 6, 3-6 says, quoting them, "Isn't this the carpenter? Isn't this Mary's son? And the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? Aren't his sisters sitting right here with us?" And they took offense at him. Who wants to listen to their brother preach to him? Kind of fun when you think about it, isn't it? How about your sister? Would you like to have a long sermon from her? So, it goes on to say, after they took offense at him, Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his own town, among his own relatives, and in his own home." And guess what? Verse 5 says, he couldn't do any miracles there. What does it take for Jesus to do a miracle? The person has to believe. And he couldn't do miracles in his own synagogue because they didn't believe what he was saying. They didn't believe he had the authority to speak. So then he calls disciples. Calling disciples is an interesting process. The famous one is when he called the fishing brothers and told them to leave their nets and walk away. But the very first disciple he called was Levi, son of the tax. This is according to Mark, the first one written. Levi, son of a tax collector. And then it says he called 12. The first person in Jewish society, the tax collector, was considered unclean. and untouchable. You might remember the story of Nicodemus. And up in a tree, Jesus says, "Come down, for I'm going to your house for tea," according to the song we used to sing. So he called for his first disciple, not some upstanding member of the synagogue. He called an untouchable. Kind of like we went and called one of the guys standing on the corner out here. So Jesus started his ministry by doing things that were offensive to the people in the synagogue. And if they were offensive to the people in the synagogue and people started to follow him, all of a sudden that brought the Roman authorities to follow him around and check it out. He also did something terrible. He healed on the Sabbath. Do you remember that story? Doing anything on the Sabbath, from the Orthodox Jewish position, you can't cook, you can't do anything, you have to walk. Couldn't drive your car. They didn't have a car anyway, but you get it. So, and then he actually picked some wheat with his hand and rubbed it and ate the kernels. That's work. You're not allowed to do work on the Sabbath. So when Jesus healed some people on the Sabbath, that again was bringing down wrath on him. When he sent his 12 disciples out, he sent them 2 by 2. Why would he have sent them 2 by 2? Watch each other's back. They were beaten for doing something called teaching and healing. Everyone who is called, I don't care if you've never seen me before, everyone is called. But you're called to do your own thing. That's why I Love Myself the Way I Am is such a perfect song. Whatever it is you're called to do. Our very esteemed Ellen actually helps people do their income taxes. She's called to do that. Just think, back in the day, she was talking about taxes to people. Doesn't that sound funny today? And yet, that's the kind of things that got Jesus in trouble. He healed on the Sabbath. He picked wheat on the Sabbath. And then we come to the very first parable that gets any attention. And I'm actually going to read this to you guys, and then guess what? You're on. I'm coming with a microphone, so listen carefully. So Mark 4, 3 through 9, this is the New Revised Version. Listen, a farmer went out to sow his seed, and as he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it didn't have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched and they withered because they had no deep roots. Other seeds fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants out, so they did not bear grain. Still, other seed fell on good soil. It came up, grew, and produced a crop, some multiplying 30 times, some 60 times, some 100 times. And then the last verse is said, then Jesus said, whoever has ears to hear, Let them hear. Ah, all right. So what do you think this parable means? Thanks, Dunlin. Oh, surely someone's brave. You can't do it wrong. Some of the seed falls by the roadside, some falls in the thorns, some falls on rocky seed. Atta girl, I knew you would.
It means to express your truth, to manifest God as you can, as it's natural for you. And don't worry about the results, because some of it will fall on rocks and some of it will fall on fertile ground.
And what happens if it falls on fertile ground?
Then it'll grow and they'll pass it along to other people.
30 or 60 times. So what else might it mean? Atta girl, Donalyn. Watley.
Thank you. So if it is a teacher and he's throwing out information, some of it's going to land on the side of the road because people aren't going to bother to try to catch it and learn it. It's going to fall on the rocks, and some people are going to learn it a little bit for their convenience, and then when it comes down to having to hold on to it and they're tested, the sun's going to scorch them. And then the ones that actually learn the lesson are going to go out and spread the lesson.
So, anybody else have ideas? Great, Gail. There you go.
Well, I'm thinking it has to do with love too. The that you can share it with some. Some falls on deaf ears and they won't accept the love, and then others, it barely gets to their heart space. And then, of course, the people that get the love is fertile ground, and it blossoms and it goes forth to other people. We're just all like seeds, and we plant, and we keep planting and planting, and sometimes it takes a long time for people to get to get it, that it's all about love, all about spirit, all about God. And it just the fertile ground, those are the easy people. It's like woohoo, because it grows and multiplies so quickly. But those ones on the road, it just takes a long time to scoop them up and put them on the fertile part of the ground and get it together. And some people never get it because they're always on the road, and they just they just don't get it.
Perfect. I'm over here. Thank you. Thank you. Lisa, I heard you say something.
To me, it's also a little bit like you hear in these 12-step programs, take what you need and leave the rest. I think there are people who do things the hard way rather than just listen and observe. You can learn a lesson from watching someone. It doesn't necessarily have to happen to you, but there are some people who just learn it the hard way.
So, what if you were called to learn it the hard way?
I'm sorry. It's difficult. It's difficult to stand by and watch someone you love learn things the hard way.
That's such an interesting statement. Good for you, Lisa. When we think about judgment, what are we judging? Are we judging how someone else learns the lesson? Sam Bankman-Fried, what lesson is he learning? Now, if you're Doris, it's pretty easy to go to some judgment about that.
Who is he? I don't know the name.
Oh, he's a young man, 30-some years old, who started a company that I can't remember in this moment.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. and was a billionaire, and then lost a bunch of money, and a whole bunch of people invested in him, and obviously they lost their money too, and he's been convicted and is about to be sentenced perhaps to 50 years for what he did. Scammed people. Good, that's a good way to put it. So do we have judgment about him because that's how he was called to make a difference in this world? I find it really pesky, personally, that I'm supposed to forgive, not judge, think that whatever someone else does is the right thing when it looks, on a human level, so much like the wrong thing. They shouldn't have done that. It's one of the times you get to ask why. I'm going to hold on to this for a minute. Why would they be called to teach us a lesson that way? So when it comes to judging the seed, soil, spiritual growth thing, Robert Louis Stevenson said he thought it meant, don't judge each day by the harvest that you reap, but rather by the seeds that you plant. Can you go out and keep planting seeds even when it appears? Because remember, you plant a seed and it's not like it pops up instantaneously. So if you plant seeds and it looks like nothing's happening, And then someone I don't know says you can only reap what you sow. Sometimes you reap a lesson, not a reward. But you can take that lesson with you and keep it for the rest of your life. Sow the best you can with love, honesty, trust, and effort. It won't always pan out, but when it does, it will make everything, even the struggles, worthwhile. Sometimes you only reap a lesson. That's a pesky statement. Because I don't know about you, but I haven't been fond of most of the lessons I've had to learn, the ones that really made a difference. And then we can go to Ella Wheeler Wilcox. She said, with every deed you're sowing a seed, though the harvest you may not see. That's another hard one. You work and work and work and work. Teach and teach and teach and teach. And even though those seeds may be growing, you may not see the results. Some of you may have heard of Kierkegaard. He said, patience is necessary, and one cannot reap immediately where one is sown. Sometimes we're simply too impatient. We expect immediate results. Surely, people should get it by now. Or Meister Eckhart, patience is necessary, and one cannot reap immediately where one has sown. I read that one, sorry, I apologize. That was the wrong line. When we plant in the soil of contemplation, we will reap the harvest of action. I think that's another pesky one. We have to do something.
Like having the faith of a mustard seed.
And having to weed and water and tend, and nothing seems to be happening. How about Parsahamsa Yogananda? The season of failure is the best time for sowing the seeds of success. What if you have to fail in order to succeed? For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks, its insides come out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it looks like complete destruction. That's Cynthia Oselli. And then Shirley Willett says, we cannot force someone to hear a message that they aren't ready to receive. But we must never underestimate the power of planting a seed. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, says, words are also seeds. When dropped into the invisible spiritual substance, they grow and bring forth in kind. The other interesting thing about planting seeds is if you plant radish seeds, you get radishes. If you plant corn, you get corn. And sometimes looking at what you harvest tells you what kind of seeds you've planted. That's another pesky part. One little parable, 6 verses. And you see all the places that we have gone, and yet there's an endless number of places that we could have gone with that parable. The next parable listed in Mark says, and he said to them, do you bring a lamp to put it under a bowl or a bed? Instead, don't you put a lamp on the stand? For whatever is hidden is meant to be disclosed, and whatever is concealed is meant to be brought out in the open. If anyone has ears to hear, let them listen. Consider carefully what you hear. He continued, with the measure you use, it will be measured to you, or even more. Whoever has given more, whoever does not have, here's the kicker line, even what they have will be taken from them. So I could walk around with the mic and get you to interpret that one. But I would like you to consider not the energy you have brought to the Bible for your whole life, but what you could find in a simple parable if you looked. Now, I do not sit around and read the Bible every day. I use the Bible when I prepare lessons. But as a good Baptist, a whole bunch of it is in my head forever. I can't get rid of it. Learning a different way to look at the Bible, and when you consider the question, is Unity Christian? We know that there are a lot of churches who would tell us no right up front. But in our identity statement in the Unity booklet, it says we are a positive, you think we're positive? Progressive approach to Christianity based on the teachings of Jesus, the healing power of prayer that honors the truth in all religions and spiritual paths. So we live in a Christian society. None of us are Hindus. None of us are Muslims. They have a perfectly good path to their own enlightenment. They don't need to sit here. But we can't pretend that we aren't who we are. So as we walk with Jesus to resurrection, enlightenment, second-tier consciousness, consider what is valuable in the Bible. Only what's valuable to you. In the same way that if I teach you a lesson on a Zen Buddhist koan, there's a lesson to be learned. We don't have to worry about where the statement comes from. We simply have to be open to checking it out. Test it for yourself. Does it make sense to you? How does it make sense to you? You get to choose and determine. But you are on the path. And it doesn't matter if you walk the path for 40 minutes, 40 hours, 40 days, 40 weeks, or 40 years, or 40 centuries. You can walk it as long as you need to. Bring your own intelligent questions to your path. You don't need Doris's. I invite you to just take a deep breath. Breathing into your own life. Noticing your life and what you have reaped. And then consider what you would like to reap for the rest of your life. No judgment. None of us here at Unity on the Avenue is here to judge each other for how our life unfolds. We are not even to judge ourselves, but we are to bring awareness into this moment. We are invited to notice how we would like the rest of our lives to unfold. No outer call. Only an awareness of our own demonstrations. Simply noticing. Breathing into this moment. Being gentle with yourself. Loving yourself just the way you are. But choosing how you wish to go forward. What seeds are you called to plant? Where are you called to plant them? Calls are individual, private moments, unless we choose to share them. We choose in this moment to be grateful for every day that we have lived and for all the days that are going forward that we will be living. So we simply say thank you. Thank you. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. So, chai and rye. We're excited you're here today. You want to bring your rabbits up here? Because we collect rabbits. Do you remember why we're collecting rabbits? Who are we giving them to? Come on. Who? You don't know. Hey, come on. Do you know? Who are we giving them to besides you? No. Do you remember? The Venezuelan refugees, the little kids who have to live on the street and don't have anything to hug? Yeah. Pardon?
I want the animal.
Yeah. Animals. So, join me in blessing our children. You are loved, special, and important. We see you and bless the divine beings that you are. Thanks for being here, girls. We read just what it said, didn't we?
I read it.
So many of you are consistent givers, and you give in many ways. Once a year, once a month, whatever, and you support our church, and we're grateful. And some of us actually still write checks or put cash in the offering plate or use the square in the back with our credit cards. So all those work. Let's bless our offering. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny. Hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many. It'll roll all over the floor. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. For it's just like a magic penny. Hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many. They'll roll all over the floor. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more.
Awesome. An old-fashioned Unity Day. So, please join in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God our Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let there begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyful